WISU presents Chop It Up the Podcast with Amere Dozier and Baylee Chamberlain. Your key to the sports world. Let's get to it. Yes, sir. It's Chop It Up the Podcast, your key to the sports world. I'm Amere Dozier alongside my partner, Baylee Chamberlain, and this is Season 1, Episode 10. We're coming to you from the WZIS studios right here in Terre Haute, Indiana. What's going on, Baylee? Another one today.
Number 10, man, the Mike Bibby episode.
Man, we getting it through. It's like clockwork now.
Yep.
Go ahead and unlock the sports world with the headlines for us.
In local news, the Terre Haute North Lady Patriots fell to the Mooresville 53-40. Terre Haute South boys and girls swimming teams beat Greenfield 109-71 at the Aquatic Center on Wednesday. They returned to the pool Saturday for their sister city meet. And as for the Sycamores, the Indiana State women's basketball team lost their home opener to Marshall 72-60. Freshman guard Jasmine Elder led in scoring with 14 points. They fell to 2-6 on the season and will be heading to Murray, Kentucky to face Murray State on Saturday. Football team had 2 players receive Missouri Valley Football Conference All-Newcomer Awards in St. Louis. Wide receiver Dominique Daphne won it on the offensive side, while corner Cuevas Cummings won it on the defensive side. In the national news, the Niners have suspended radio analyst Tim Ryan for racial comments toward Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. Apparently, Ryan made comments on QNRB radio in San Francisco on Monday discussing Jackson's success running the ball, saying, quote, his dark skin makes it hard for players to see the ball when he plays. He said, again, quote, he's really good at that fake Lamar Jackson, but when you consider his dark skin color with a dark football, with a dark uniform, you cannot see that thing. And added, quote, I mean, you literally cannot see when he was in and out of that mesh point. He later apologized. In the MLB, the Houston Astros have traded outfielder Jake Marisnick to the New York Mets for 2 prospects. And in college basketball, North Carolina 6'10" freshman forward Armando Beckett suffered an ankle injury during the 74-49 loss to Ohio State on Wednesday night. Head coach Roy Williams said, quote, it was swollen by the time he got to the locker room. My guess is he'll be out for a while. And he was averaging 11 points and 9 rebounds a game this season. And then showing love to Indiana, they upset number 17 ranked Florida State in Bloomington on Tuesday, 80-64. And they're currently 8-0 on the season. And I think it'd be kind of cool to see the Hoosiers do good.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, it's Hoosier basketball.
I love Indiana basketball. So
Facts.
That'd be great. All right, high school basketball, man. Terre Haute South in Charleston, Illinois. We previewed them last episode, and Terre Haute South came out on top.
Yep.
60-34, man. How you feel about that? They're 2-1 on the season.
To hold a team to 34 points is impressive. Got it done on the offensive side as well. To put up 60 points, that's a good road win. Travel across state lines, and to do that, shout out.
One thing I like, though, is the pace. They were up 28-18 at half. That's a good way to start fast.
Right.
And another thing about them is they spread the ball out well also. Charleston looked really sloppy. You know, Terre Haute South, they forced 24 turnovers.
Wow. 18
steals. That's sloppy. And, you know, Charleston is a big team. They're a lot bigger than Terre Haute South. So I was expecting them to not be able to do as good, you know, because they wouldn't be able to get the boards. But their speed, man, they were playing scrappy. As soon as Charleston would get the ball, they were all over it. And, you know, that's kind of hard to score on.
Yeah.
But another thing is Amere Wilson, the freshman guard, he led in scoring with 18 points.
Shout out.
And they head to Evansville, Boss today for an exciting matchup. So let's see if they can keep it rolling.
Another road win, or another road game.
Yeah. West Vigo and KC Westfield. KC Westfield beat West Vigo 55-48. It was actually a really good game. They just, you know, they got to finish strong. They controlled the pace of the game for a while. KC Westfield didn't really start catching up until about the second, third quarter type. But that's when they kind of got in the lead. West Vigo just has to do better in the paint. It's as simple as that. Livingston is only 6-1 for Casey Westerfield, and he had 10 boards.
It's like Jordan Barnes.
Yeah, and by the way, Casey Westfield is Casey Westfield is an Illinois school also.
Wow.
So, you know, just beating them would have been good just because you beat an out-of-state team.
Yeah, to have both Terre Haute teams do that'd be pretty dope.
But the main thing is just getting that work done in the paint. Gabe Newhouse for West Vigo is 6'3".
Yeah.
Livingston for Casey Westfield was only 6'1". You got to be able to make that work. Sean Roberts still played a good game as usual. Last game, you remember, he outscored the opponents by himself. He had a good game this game also, 21 points. Newhouse, who I just mentioned, had 10 points. They took a tough loss, and they're now 1-1 on the season, but they head to Greencastle next week, so let's see what they do. Northview season starts this Saturday, and Terre Haute North plays their next game Saturday also. So we'll see how these teams do.
Keep you updated throughout the season as always.
Yes, sir. Sycamore Spotlight. Indiana men's basketball beat North Dakota State University, man, and we both got to watch this in person.
Yeah, such a great game. Did not expect North Dakota State to come out and to shoot the way they did. I believe they were like at one point 1 of 19 or 1 of 20 from the field. Like it was great looks, a bunch of threes, even good looks at the basket, and they were not falling. So shout out to ISU's defense for sure on that one.
What's the thing you were impressed the most about? Or not even impressed the most about, what surprised you the most in the game, whether it was something that had to do with North Dakota State or Indiana State?
So the thing that surprised me the most was how North Dakota State started the game, but they were only down by a manageable amount at halftime, came out in the second half, actually took a 1-point lead off Indiana State, which we all knew would happen, but I was really happy of how Indiana State responded to that. They ended up going up by double digits again and to hold them off to win 71-60. So everyone knew that North Dakota State was going to come out at halftime and get out of that slump, and they actually went on a run. Indiana State wasn't really answering, but once North Dakota State took that lead, ISU answered right back and pulled away at the end. So shout out to them for that.
Yes, sir. One thing that I was surprised about was just how kind of fast Indiana State took off in general.
Yeah.
They came out on fire just from the jump. And another thing is, I have to apologize for this, because last episode, if you take a listen to last episode, and I couldn't even listen to it anymore after I seen the game in person. I talked so bad about Jordan Barnes, man, and how he really couldn't really make stuff happen.
Right.
But last game he showed me he wasn't like the superstar. He didn't make it all happen.
But he did what he needed to do.
But 11 points is not bad when you got 8 rebounds.
Yep.
And you got 5 assists. 5 assists right there, that's almost 10 points.
Yep.
So that's a great way to be a floor general in general for Jordan Barnes. Tyreek Key, you already know, he came out and he impressed. And then this is another thing, when you look at Jordan Barnes' stats, 19 at Dayton, 7 at Louisville, 12 at Ball State, 8 at DeQuincy. It's a roller coaster, but it's not like he's had that bad of a game. His worst game was 6 points, and that's bad, but it's not, if it was 5 or below,
right,
then I would understand. So, and another thing is basketball it's a game of runs.
Yep.
Now, this is the thing. I just said basketball is a game of runs. Indiana State came into this season, 0-4?
Yep,
0-3?
Started 0-3.
And now they're 4-4.
Yep.
So
they started 0-4 because they're on a 4-game win streak now.
Yeah, they're on a 4-game win.
So they're 4-4.
Coach Lansing is focused on college. Well, I'm sorry, Coach Lansing, Indiana State's coach. He is focused on conference play more than anything, and
which I'm glad because
man. And the reason why I know this is because I talked to him after the game and I asked him, okay, you started off rough, started off winless. Now you're on a 4-game win streak. How do you feel? How do you keep your team on board? And this is what he said.
We had a tough schedule. We had a tough schedule, and that's my fault. We knew what we had to deal with here, but I challenged them. Going to Dayton, going to Louisville to start the year, that's not the smartest thing in the world for a coach maybe in my position, but we wanted to challenge them, and we know that the biggest thing is being ready to go when the Valley season starts.
So how you feel about that?
I like what he said. He took ownership of saying, yeah, it was a hard one, but you want to challenge your team right off the rip. And I think it was a good thing because when you come out of the season and you got to play 2 ranked teams, Dayton is now ranked, and then you have the number 1 team in the nation now, Louisville. When you play them back-to-back, both road games, it's one of the biggest challenges you can get.
Yep.
And, it wasn't a bad thing. Obviously, it was because they lost, but as like a mental toughness thing, a lot of new guys, they got a lot of minutes. I think it was a really good challenge for him, and I think it can help him as the season goes on for sure.
Yep, and a good thing about, Indiana State is they won against North Dakota State. And like I said, I was there in person. You were there in person.
Yeah.
We got to see these players and their size.
Yeah.
They weren't that much bigger than ISU. It kind of looked like ISU playing ISU.
Yeah.
When they were playing Louisville, when they were playing Ball State, when they were playing Dayton, those teams are a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So, seeing them against teams at their size, which teams in their conference are going to be their size.
Yeah, it's an easier matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot better for them. So it's still good to see that he's looking forward to conference matchup. These wins still matter. Of
course.
It's still great. You can use them to help you for tournament plays and things like that.
Yep.
But I don't think, I'm just excited. I'm glad that he knows that the conference wins are important. And one thing that you mentioned, and I want to ask you about this is, and not even just you, I've heard this from other people, Barnes, and once he gets into conference play, it's inconsistent. Yeah. What do you think that'll be a problem this year?
I hope not, and I hope that he realizes, because last year, pre-conference play, about this time last year, man was putting up top in the nation numbers, 3-point attempts, 3-point makes, 3-point percentage. Yeah. He was lights out, doing everything Indiana State needed from him. And then we got to conference play, and it disappeared, and he was miss. I think he was shooting somewhere in the 30%, maybe low 30% from 3, after probably shooting high 40s, mid 40s. But yeah, I hope not, man, and I hope that season, or how it ended last year for him, lights the fire, and I can only imagine it would. And then you got Tyreek Key as well, Cooper Neese. There's a bunch of guys. I just really hope they're hungry, because, man, if I was losing year in and year out, having a losing record in conference play and then getting out first round of the tournament, like it would put a spark in me. So I hope that locker room is the same as well. A lot of new guys as well, so they want to start off their tenure at Indiana State with a good run. I'm excited.
And, one thing I mentioned is big men. They were the same size. We still didn't see that much big men play. Jake LaRavia, he didn't do anything. He had 0 points. I don't think he had any rebounds. Let me see. It's 2 rebounds. So, he didn't really do much. And you look at Christopher Agbo, same thing. He only played 4 minutes. He had 4 rebounds. So
I know Trey Williams, their starting 5, he actually got it going really good at the end of the second half to really pull away from him. So he was getting a lot of looks down low. Bronson Kessinger was also making some moves on the block. So they were there, but it was kind of late in the game. So they just got to use the momentum and keep going for Wright State.
True. Yeah, Wright State, like you just mentioned, they'll be playing them on Saturday. What do you expect to see out of this game?
I don't know. I don't know a lot about Wright State. They're currently 7-2, and those 2 losses were a combined 3 points. But I looked at their schedule earlier. They haven't really played anybody like too special. But Indiana State, I believe they're still looking to get their first real road win, because I wouldn't count the games in the Bahamas as like road games. So yeah, Wright State's a good team. Indiana State's a good team, so it should be an exciting matchup. I'm not sure how. We just talked about the size differences between 2 teams. I'm not sure what Wright State's putting up in terms of size on their players, but I believe Indiana State's going to be ready, and it's going to be a really good game.
All right, yeah, that's true. Yes, sir. Now, FBS college football, man, the SEC championship.
Yep.
Conference championships are going on all over college football.
Honestly, one of the best times of the year.
Yeah, but the SEC championship is number 2 versus number 4. A lot of hype around it. And the number one thing that I just have to say from the jump is these defenses are going to have to come out. It's so much star power on these teams. You got Jake Fromm on Georgia. Then you got Joe Burrows at LSU. Then you got DeAndre Swift at Georgia. And then you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire at LSU. So it's just back and forth star power. You look at the yards. Georgia, they're averaging, they got 420 yards altogether on the season.
Jesus.
Well, no, they're averaging 420 yards.
A game.
Yeah, a game. And that's crazy. And then you look at